We'll begin in just about a minute. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's eChapter meeting. I'm Star Jones. I hope you have all had a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. It's always great to have a nice long weekend to spend with family and with friends. And hopefully you also took some time to remember the brave men and women who have served our country. In fact, I'd like to send a warm thank you to all of our members who are veterans and who so courageously serve or have served this wonderful country of ours. I always say we're the home of the free because of the brave, and we are very much appreciative of your sacrifice and your family's sacrifice. So now I'm thinking, what better way to kick off the start of the summer than with another fabulous eChapter meeting? Yes, having the chance to get together every 2 weeks with all of you, hearing what you have to say, listening to the remarkable insight from our panel of NAPW experts, and learning about the professional journeys of our other VIP members is truly one of my favorite things about NAPW. It's why no matter where I am, I always find a place that I can open the eChapter meeting. So before we get started, let me tell you where I am connecting with you from today. I'm actually here in Northern California hosting a series of networking events over the next couple of days. I'm not sure how many of you know, but in addition to being president of NAPW, I serve as a member of the board of directors and president of Professional Diversity Network, which is our parent company. And PDN hosts diversity career fairs that are co-sponsored by NAPW across the country throughout the year. Today I'm here at our diversity career fair at the San Jose Convention Center. You can see in the background there's lots of activity here. People are looking for jobs both passively and on purpose, I should say, or I should say passively and intentionally. But tomorrow I will be hosting our Power Networking event here in San Jose on the famous Santana Row. NAPW is all about discovering the power of connections, and our NAPW Power Networking events help members make connections with like-minded professional women who share our passion for success and our desire to achieve, which appropriately brings us to the theme of our eChapter meeting this afternoon. Today we are addressing a topic that is particularly relevant to most professional women, and that is getting a seat at the table. No, we're not talking about attending a dinner or a lunch meeting. We're talking about actually being invited to sit down with the decision makers, voicing your opinions and helping to effect change. If you feel like you've been relegated to standing in the background, well, today's panel of VIP members are highly successful professional women who are top executives in leading companies, and they will provide you with the tools you need to leverage your success, develop your leadership style, and even learn proper table etiquette. Yes, after this eChapter meeting, you're going to be pulling up a chair and confidently taking your seat at the table. And as usual, at the end of today's meeting, I'll add my star tips and what has moved me forward in my career. As always, before we begin our panel discussion, we're featuring 3 more accomplished professional women in our VIP Member Spotlight segment. We'll be hearing from a 20-year retired veteran who works tirelessly helping other veterans achieve career success, and from 2 women whose expertise is in coaching, mentoring, and empowering others. Really can't wait to hear what these women have to say. And again, I will be back at the end of the meeting to add my 2 cents. Finally, please be sure to participate in the polls that will appear throughout the meeting. This interactive aspect of our eChapter meetings gives us some great insight into our attendees and your thoughts on some very important topics. They also help set the agenda for future eChapter meetings. And I'm going to come from yet a different place. When you see me next, I will be on the famous Santana Row and I will introduce you to the location where we are going to be hosting our Power Networking event tomorrow. I tell you, lots of good stuff is happening around NAPW. I can't wait for you all to experience it all. And now it's time to turn this meeting over to Louise. Louise?
Thank you, Star, and good afternoon, ladies. Our eChapter is NAPW's unique online networking platform with events held bi-weekly on Wednesdays, either at noon or 4 p.m. Eastern. NAPW eChapter only hosts our members nationally, inviting them to be spotlights, panelists, and guests to network with each other throughout the event. We encourage you to carve out the time and keep coming back to our eChapter because of its ease and ability to network from your office while on the road and even from the comfort of your own home. So mark your calendars for every other Wednesday and look out for the email invites and promotions on social media. As always, I'd like to welcome our NAPW members, especially if you're joining us for the first time today. And we also have in attendance today some additional corporate moderators to assist you or just chat with you along the way. They are Talia Cardiello, Director of Membership Services, and Sam Picorni, Local Chapter Manager, who will be doing her best to offer technical support if needed. And Dana Angel, Graphic Designer and Digital Media Manager, will be live posting throughout the event on NAPW's Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, encouraging you in the chat room to share our posts on your social media. You will also see several times during the event a poll pop up on your screen. Please take a minute to answer the questions as we will share the results during the panel discussion. The agenda for our event today is that we will be showcasing 3 VIP member business spotlights who have 3 minutes each to share their expertise before we invite on our panelists on to discuss our topic for today, getting a seat at the table. So for our first spotlight today, I'd like to introduce Lucienne Larabieur, who is a licensed spiritual and emotional teacher, master life-transforming coach and prosperity mentor, owner of theconsciousattitude.com, an online learning community of self-growth and evolution. Lucienne helps freedom-seeking women to stand out, regain authority in business and life, and create a prosperous living from the inside out. From a standing start, she creates a life from 0 to 7 figures in only 1 year, having literally no place to live and only her identity and ideas to use. She's grown her audience both in English and Spanish, inside and outside the US, having students of prosperity from all over the world. Lucienne is the creator of The Hidden Gifts of Your Story and True Prosperity, her bilingual signature online programs, which has over 180 students currently enrolled from different countries. Good afternoon, Lucienne. Come online with us.
Hi, and thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to share value and share what I do. It's an honor to be here, and I would like to just add value on the prosperity topic today. We deal with prosperity every day of our lives in different areas of our lives. So prosperity is a state of consciousness and is a spiritual principle of our being. It is not a principle that is outside of us that we need to tap into. We really need to understand fully our spiritual pillar, our emotional, our mental, and our physical pillar. We are those 4 pillars. So True Prosperity, that is an online program that I've created, really starts with explaining what's the principle of abundance and the principle in you. So I want you to know this. Abundance is a principle in you, and it has a practice we need to practice every day. That practice is gratitude. If you want to feel prosperous, practice gratitude. And practice gratitude in this way. What you feel grateful for. It's not listing, thank you for the car, the house, the food, the clothing. No, it's I feel grateful for, and write it down, because that creates the alchemy. I love the word alchemy. I work with the invisible side of your person. So quick tips that I can give you on prosperity. First of all, dealing with prosperity is the same as dealing with lack. There is a core energy in you that you can recognize and have the free will to connect either to lack or connect either to prosperity. If you are experiencing lack, it's not only about money, but lack of clients, lack of appreciation or money, it is because you have accepted that as a natural part in your life or a natural cycle in your life. Number one, tip one, is detach from that idea of lack. Connect. Number two, connect with that core energy and source of abundance in you. Number three, identify a limiting belief you might have on prosperity and think of the opposite. Moving from that limiting belief to the opposite is very challenging. What I want you to do is baby steps. Every day, tomorrow, you might not have a client today. Tomorrow, you might have one. So it's allowing yourself the expansion of consciousness of prosperity. And again, baby steps, disconnecting from the idea of lack, connecting to prosperity, and practicing gratitude. Oh, and I will be offering a very special price and discount for NAPW members for this True Prosperity. I will be sending you the information because I think it's really our responsibility to learn the spiritual pillar and understand our own person, the fullest, the more, the greater, the better. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Lucienne, for sharing with us today here on eChapter. Our next spotlight for today is Anna Thomas, a 20-year retired veteran who's devoted to the veteran population as a transitional facilitator, program manager of veteran-supported employment at the Veteran Affairs Medical Center. Anna's out-of-the-box thinking and strategies and strength-based model approach helps her identify and break down long-term employment barriers. She acts as an advocate to community employers to streamline hiring experiences, creating a sustainable veteran talent pipeline for the employers. The iCare model is the foundation of the Veteran Affairs to help fulfill our promise to serve and honor the men and women who are our American veterans. Anna received her bachelor degree in Human Services Management from the University of Phoenix, where she also participates in the Alumni Student Mentoring Program. She is a frequent motivational speaker at business functions and serves on the NAPW Wichita Chapter Executive Board as the Philanthropic Chair. Good afternoon, Anna, and welcome.
Good afternoon, Lucienne, and thank you, or Louise, and thank you. Well, I wanted to ask you, did you know that the rise of the VA disability payment actually is directly linked to the unemployment rate of our veterans today? For instance, it went from 8.7% in 2001 all the way up to 18% in 2014. That is why, as a Veterans Program Manager for the Veteran Affairs, I work with the transitioning veterans and the lost populations, such as the homeless veterans, the war veterans, and yes, even the severely disabled veterans. I help them reclaim and regain their functionality back into our society. For you see, it's not always employment that they seek when they come and see me. Sometimes I listen to their fears, their unanswered questions, and yes, even wipe away their tears. There's other times that I just sit and chat with them and take a walk down memory lane and reminisce with them. Then there's times that I work with those veterans and help them develop and execute their employment goals to help them get back into the workforce. In all honesty, the only way that I can really explain what it is that I do is to tell you that I wear a multitude of hats. If it is the veteran's desire to get back into the society, and it's not illegal, and it's not immoral, or it's not unethical, I'm right there with that veteran alongside of them, and I am working with them and for them to help them realize and relive their dreams. You're probably asking, why am I telling this to the ladies of NAPW? What is my business? Well, my business is the business of veterans, and I'm also pretty sure that there are many of you, or you may know somebody who is actually out there that's suffering in silence and have unanswered questions and may be living those fears. I also want to tell you that as a veteran myself, I personally lived those fears. I personally had those questions. I even questioned my own existence at one point in time because of my silence. I don't want to see veterans hurt. I don't want to see them go without. And I certainly don't want them living their lives in uncertainty. For you see, it's not easy taking off that uniform and re-entering into a world that is now unfamiliar to you and strange and yes, even scary because you don't know how you're going to fit. That's why I serve and the VA and the VA veterans is my passion, because I am in a position to where I can help them re-empower themselves, regain their confidence, and give back to a society and a country that they once proudly served. Thank you.
Anna, thank you so much for the hard work that you do, and please, I invite you to go over to the chat room and continue chatting with the attendees there. Last but not least for our spotlights today, I'd like to welcome Sandra Biskind, who is a global visionary, thought leader, international speaker, transformational business life strategist for over 35 years, and international #1 best-selling author of 3 books in 2015. A self-made millionaire by 29, she offers an astute combination of business savvy, transformational leadership, and soul enrichment. Sandra is passionate about working with leaders who are committed about attaining the next level of enlightened success and making a global impact. As Jack Canfield, co-author of Chicken Soup for the Soul series and the Success Principles said about Sandra and her husband Daniel, they are profound healers, trainers, speakers, and authors who do some incredible transformational work. Hi, Sandra. Great to have you here today. Come online.
Okay, I'm here.
Wonderful.
You got me?
Go right
Great.
ahead.
Oh, welcome everybody. It's such an honor to be here speaking to you all today. And, you know, I know that a lot of you have been through traumatic experiences. I know that you face life challenges almost daily, and I certainly had. And I understood at a very young age that enlightenment, personal development, and taking 100% responsibility for my thoughts and my choices was the only thing that was going to have me not only survive, but thrive in the business world and in my personal life as well. So I spent many, many years working with the best success coaches and spiritual teachers in the world, and was able to develop a fantastic system that I call the quantum neutrality system. And that is a process whereby I go in and I uncover the unconscious blocks. Notice I used the word unconscious blocks to your success, to you having health and wealth, prosperity, to you actually being able to have the love of your life and a business and a family and everything it is that you desire. So there's every single human being has programming from childhood and beyond that acts like imprinting on your DNA, and that stops you. It can get triggered at any time, and it stops you from being able to go from where you are now to where you want to be. So it stops you from being the best version of who you are. So the work that I do, I find, is so profound in the world. My clients are, for instance, Jack Canfield. When he experienced this work, he loved it so much. It helped him through a decades-long problem that he thought was unsolvable. And he brought in all of his team, his entire Canfield training group, to go through this process with amazing results. I had another woman who's a best-selling author, and I'm sure there's a lot of you out there, who went to New York for a meeting, and she wanted to obviously get a publishing deal. She rang me up shocked and excited because she said, I just got $1 million advance on my book and you made that happen. And of course I said, no, you made that happen, but it was the work. She had a glass ceiling, and she said that she thought she might have got a $250,000 advance, which would be very rare these days. once you move past those unconscious blocks that can get triggered off by any little thing, you come into a place where you're feeling really whole and complete, you're balanced, the glass ceiling has been shattered, and you are acting as the best version of you, tapped into your intuition, to the wisdom and perfection of who you are. So, love you to go to my website, thebiskins.com. I've got a free meditation there for you, so please sign up and have a look at the books, because I talk about the quantum neutrality process in here, and it's in there for you to read and to get going with. Lots of tools and tips on how to go from where you are now to where you want to be, how to change your state from not feeling so good to feeling great. Thank you so much for having me on this wonderful eChapter call.
Thank you, Sandra, and thank you to all our NAPW professional spotlights today. Well, now it's time to continue our program and move on to our panel discussion. So for our first panelist, I'd like to welcome Kathy Callahan Brady, who is a serial entrepreneur, speaker, and educator, drawing from more than 25 years of executive-level experience in IT, real estate, and business development. She served as Director of Business Systems at the National Academy of Sciences, founded 4 successful companies in various industries, and generated millions of dollars in revenue. With a degree in computer science from the University of Maryland, she began teaching many years ago and has since bloomed into a passionate career instilling fundamental concepts in business mastery. As a CEO group chair with Vistage, the world's leading CEO organization with 20,000 members, Kathy believes that the role of a leader is to lead change along with drive growth. Today, Kathy is the president and CEO of Frederick's Innovation and Technology Center, where her passion of helping entrepreneurs accelerate their business combined with her talent to drive growth is her focus. Good afternoon, Kathy. Come join us. It's wonderful to have you here.
Good afternoon, Louise. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our next panelist, and I welcome her to join her. Her name is Lakita Jewett, who is the Director of Transaction Advisory Services Practice at Citron Cooperman. Lakita provides buy-side and sell-side due diligence services to private equity firms and strategic buyers. She has extensive knowledge of M&A advisory, strategic project management, finance and accounting, and auditing from both the perspective of an external advisor and internal senior finance manager, and has assisted buyers and sellers in over 70 transactions ranging from $5 million to $1 billion. Before her role at Citron, Lakita held various senior finance roles at GE, Healthcare, Morgan Stanley, and KPMG. She has a bachelor's degree in accounting from Howard University and a master's of business administration from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Good afternoon, Lakita. Come join us. Again, great to have you as part of our panel. Good afternoon.
Louise and ladies.
Wonderful. I'll go right ahead and last but not least, introduce Sylvia Espino, who is the Director of Human Resources at Zodiac Aerospace. Sylvia brings more than a decade of experience to her position at Zodiac Aerospace, serving as a Human Resources Director. She supports 6 different facilities, 3 located in California, 1 in France, 1 in Brazil, and 1 more in Mexico. She has the lead responsibility for approximately 3,500 direct and indirect employees and manages a team of approximately 12 human resource professionals. She provides a broad range of HR support actions for achieving business objectives, including talent management, organization effectiveness, and employee engagement. She has worked for large international companies in the US, Mexico, and Canada, and holds a bachelor's degree in psychology and a certification in human resources management. Sylvia was recognized in 2012 worldwide Who's Who Professional of the Year in Human Resources. These special honorees are distinguished based on professional accomplishments, academic achievements, leadership abilities, and years of service. Good afternoon, Sylvia. Come join us. Ladies, it's certainly a powerhouse panel we have here today of our wonderful VIP and NAPW members, and it's a pleasure to have you here. So today we are discussing getting a seat at the table. And it doesn't matter if you're a professional within a corporation or an entrepreneur. Having a seat at the table is synonymous with position and success. So ladies, tell us how you view and define the term getting a seat at the table. Let's start off with you, Kathy. What's your opinion on this?
Well, it's actually a personal sort of opinion for me in that, I believe the view and the definition of it is going to be different for all women. It's changed for me over the years, too, depending on where I'm at. But I know I started in computer science, and I was the only woman in the room, and I thought, what in the world have I got myself into? Went into commercial real estate. It's a very tough world, too, in that there's not a lot of women in it. And then when I started going into corporate America, there wasn't even women managers at the time. So getting into the boardroom was even more challenging and sort of difficult. But, one of the things that had always helped me was realizing that as women, we have extraordinary minds, and we think so completely differently from men. And we have such value to be at the table, to be leading organizations and leading companies. So it's always been something where, it's just kind of like fake it till you make it, and get out there and just make it happen, and believe that you can do it, and it happens almost overnight. So I would encourage anyone and everybody who's struggling with it to make sure that they join with their sisters, because together we are just so much stronger. So anyways, I'll stop there.
Thanks, Kathy. Lakita?
Sure. To me, getting a seat at the table means being an essential player. You're the first person thought of when there's a problem to solve or when there's a goal to achieve. When we were children, if you can remember playing sports, everybody wanted a certain person and they wanted to pick that person first. As an adult, that's the person who gets the seat at the table. And how I've been able to earn that role for myself is to really, number one, be able to tap into the issue and add value, and just also make sure that I kind of offer solutions. There's tons of problems, but the person who's going to really, like I say, keep a seat at the table is the one who's focused on solutions.
Thanks, Lakita. We'll definitely get into the strategies of it in the next question. Sylvia, let's hear your thoughts on this.
Of course. Well, thank you very much. I think that, having a seat at the table for me means to be not only sitting there, right? Because a lot of us we all get invited to meetings just because maybe we have a job title, we're part of the team, right? But once you are in that meeting, it's being able to speak up, being able to have your counterparts, regardless of, if they're women or men, having them ask for your opinion or really value what you're saying. For me, having a seat at the table is knowing your business, right? Knowing what it is that you're doing, knowing why it is so important to be there and provide with a value-added information and opinion. So I'm sure that we're going to talk about strategies and all of that later on.
Well, actually, I'm leading right into that, so I'm going to stay with you, Sylvia, and I'm going to say, okay, share with us 3 or more strategies. Obviously in your world of HR, or if it's sales and marketing, even as an entrepreneur, maybe Kathy can go to that more, that you see as key to advancing in your career and having and keeping that proverbial seat at the table.
Absolutely. So for me, there 3 key things, right? So number 1 is definitely know your business. Always know your business. You're not going to be able to provide value-added information if you don't know what your business is. In HR, most of the time people think of us as, oh, she's a people person. Let's hire her for human resources. You need to be a business person. You need to understand what it is that you're doing, what it is that the company does, how the money, how we make money, so that what you say and what you do is linked to the business. Yes, you're there for the people, but you're also there for the business. And your leadership needs to be able to see that, right? That you're there for the good of both the employee and the company.
The other thing that I like to do and that I have been doing, and I think it's part of the success that I've had in this role, is make decisions with data. Yes, we're women, and yes, we do have that sixth sense that we say, I have a feeling and I think this is going to work, and that's great. But how do you prove it to your leadership? How do you prove to your teammates that it is a good idea? So always get the data, get the numbers, get that business acumen that's going to help you analyze the situations and prove with numbers that what you're saying is going to work. It's not just because we say it. And the other one that for me I think is the most important of all is be coachable. We all have opportunities. We all have areas of opportunities. We all have areas to grow and to be better. So always be coachable. Ask for opinion. We don't need to know everything. So go to the people who do know what you want to talk about or what you want to learn about, and always be coachable. That's going to help us get to where we want to be, and that's also what's going to get people to trust us and trust in our opinions, because it's not going to be based on air. It's going to be based on data. It's going to be based on our knowledge of the business, and we're going to be able and we're going to be willing to learn more from other people. So those are my three tips.
Thank you, Sylvia. Well, I think that the coaching piece, continual learning, is so important, and I think it will keep you at the table. If you're seen to be somebody who's accepting and open to growing and evolving, it's going to keep you relevant, for sure. We just ran a poll, and we asked our attendees, what do you see as key to developing leadership style? So A, taking risks, B, taking the time to harness your creativity and passion, C, taking action or speaking up, D, a strategic combination of all of the above. So 88% of our attendees said it was the strategic combination of all of the above. So Kathy, give us just off that your points, and also, talk to us a little bit about being an entrepreneur and what it means to sit at the table as an entrepreneur, because everyone kind of thinks of it more consciously as a corporate saying, and we have many of our members here who are entrepreneurs too and on the line today with us.
Absolutely. As an entrepreneur, I think should I say it's even more critical, because I've done both worlds. In one sense, as an entrepreneur, it's all about selling yourself and selling your products and selling what it is that you're doing. And when I look at getting a seat at the table, it's about being, it's a level of respect that people will allow you to come to the table as well as stay at the table. And I always say getting at the table happens behind the scenes before you're actually sitting there. So it's developing those relationships to where people truly will listen to you, who are they're truly going to spend some time and think about exactly what it is that you're saying versus trying to put their agenda in the point in the conversation. So I think as an entrepreneur, in terms of strategies behind that, it's very much the same as whether you're in corporate America. It's just it all falls on you as an entrepreneur. That's the only thing that's different behind it. But we as women, it goes back to continual learning, peer groups. I am a big proponent of peer groups. If we're not in one, I think we're foolish. I mean, that's a terrible thing to say, but I really believe that. Some sort of a mastermind that helps us to grow, be sharpened, as well as develop the relationships, because it's all of the people that are on this line could be a potential source for you, either leadership skills for improving. We've got incredible spotlight panelists and stuff that are on that can all be someone that's a huge source for us. But one of the things in the years that I've been working with people that has always been kind of one of my pet peeves is we as women are very emotional creatures. And that's one of the things that's very good, but we have got to keep our emotions almost in check. My greatest one is the patience. We've got to have more patience, and anger is just absolutely never appropriate. And it's something where we as women, we're fine with it because we get us, we understand us, But as soon as you know, we're encountering the opposite sex, it's immediately seen as, oh, there she goes again, and you've just lost so much credibility. So I mean, I had to just throw that in there because I've seen so many women, you know, they're almost there, they're climbing that ladder of success, and it doesn't matter whether it's corporate or entrepreneurial, and there's one thing that happens completely justified, and it just sort of blows it for them. So hope that helps.
Well, Kathy, that's certainly another e-chapter, or we have to definitely have a discussion about how to build some tools around that. Thank you. Lakita?
Yes, I mean, I just would like to continue on the theme of continuous learning. You know, as we gain experience and become seasoned professionals, we can sometimes get comfortable with our skills. But today's environment, you have to actively refresh your skills. You have to stay on top of the market and what's happening with competition and what's changing. Things are moving so fast now, and business is becoming so complicated. You really have to invest in yourself and continually learn. So that is my number one key to kind of advancing my career and staying at the table. Another thing that is very certain is that things will change. Every day things are changing, and you have to get comfortable with the fact that businesses are reorganizing, markets are changing, demographics are changing, so you have to really adapt to change and embrace change, and really focus on trying to do what's necessary for you to stay competitive. And then my final thought is innovation and creativity. Even the most boring jobs, like accounting, like CPA, taxes, you can look for creative ways to kind of evolve the task and do things better or differently, because again, things are changing. So, you know, those are the key strengths that I try to rely on as I go forward.
Thanks, Lakita. Yeah, the creative part. I mean, that's definitely difficult for some. It's certainly something I tap into all the time. It really helps to kind of push the envelope, think out the box a little, and even if it's gone out the box too far, it allows you to at least tweak it and come back and think of keep fresh and relevant. And also the other word that we like to use often on eChapter is authenticity. You know, being authentic and true to yourself, I think will show good stead and assist in getting that seat at the table. So keeping with you, Lakita, and bringing Kathy into the conversation again, as business development experts, project managers, and financial analysts, share with us why it's been important for you to diversify your skill set, and have you seen this as a key component to staying at the table? Lakita, we'll stay with you on this, and we'll go over to Kathy.
Absolutely. You know, when I started out in accounting, and, you know, after a few years, I just realized I had such a narrow view of the world, and there was just a lot I did not know about business in general. So this is when I went back to school and got a business degree, because I realized that I can't just know about accounting if I wanted to be a leader. I had to understand HR. I had to understand marketing, because all those things work in concert for business to be successful. So just as a leader, you have to have a broad view. So I am certainly a proponent of, you know, broadening your skills. And then also, even now in my role, you know, clients come to me and expect me to advise them on other areas that are not my core job. And I at least should be able to give them some advice and direct them in the right direction. That's
Thanks, Lakita. We just ran another poll, and we asked, do you feel that diversity within the decision-making of an organization or company is key to its success? Well, it was an overwhelming 100% said yes. You know, which is great, because this is actually what we are here at NAPW, is diverse, and I think that's what keeps eChapter relevant, keeps our local chapters relevant, because we have so much in the room, so much to say and so much to share. So, Kathy, share with us some of the, you know, the things that you learned through diversifying through your career, and how you feel it kept you sort of at the table.
Yeah, I think I've been very fortunate in that I think there's just something in me that just says I absolutely love learning. I cannot get enough in terms of reading, so I'm going to echo Lakita. And I'm also been somebody who I absolutely love collaboration. There is nothing more fun to me than to bring a group of people together and say, hey, let's figure out how to solve this problem. I'm new in this position, and so I'm looking at all of these different things that I have to tackle, and I immediately started setting up tiger teams and saying, okay, who's really excited about marketing? Who's really excited about fundraising and budgeting? Who's really excited about entrepreneurs and business development? And I've got all of these different great teams. And yes, as women, we think we've got to go out there and solve all these problems ourselves, but we're actually so much stronger when we do it into groups. And so, yes, I absolutely, you bring in all of this different types of diversity, and you've got an amazing powerhouse. But I know as a CEO and as an entrepreneur, you wear so many different hats that, like Lakita was saying, if you are not familiar with marketing, you're absolutely going to fail. And it's some of the things that just wipes entrepreneurs out and makes them so tired, because they are wearing all the different hats, especially when they're first starting off, which is even more of a reason to have a great team around you and be able to say, hey, Lakita, I'm not any good with the finance piece. Would you help me out? And I'll help you out with the marketing, or whatever it is. And we can truly grow and support one another that way.
So it's not necessarily having a personal experience in multiple places. It's understanding that, well, first of all, the reading, definitely staying current and reading lots of diverse material helps, and also the collaboration piece and building strong teams and leveraging off that, and also learning from those people. So that they can sort of assist you and to work through some issues that might be relevant at that time. Sylvia, we know that you've come onto eChapter today, and actually you've just started a new position. I think it was it this week?
It was yesterday, yes.
Yesterday. So we are really thankful to have you here. I know that's a big stretch and a great commitment to the women of NAPW that you've come on, because you've got such great things to share. So as a Director of Human Resources, explain how important this role is within an organization. And do you feel that companies truly understand the value of their human resource leaders and allow them that seat at the table?
It's funny that you ask this, because this is just a conversation that I was having with the president of Zodiac, because I've been fortunate enough to work for companies, such as Honeywell and other companies, where the HR role is very well valued and is very well positioned because of, leaders, very, very strong leaders who have been able to educate everybody as to what value HR brings, right, to the company. In this company where I'm working at right now, this is something that we're trying to do. So we're trying to really project and to really educate everybody as to, HR is no longer the function that is going to just plan an event. People see HR as, okay, they plan the events, they book the trips, they interview people, they hire people, and they fire people, right? But really, HR is a function that has to do with the entire life cycle of the employee, and it also has to do with the strategy, the core of the business. Because at the end of the day, when you're talking about financials, for example, your employee expenses are always going to be your highest expenses. So how do you work? How do you understand the process of the cycle of the work, right? The supply chain, to say something if you're in manufacturing, right? And what is the demand like? What is the cycle time of a specific part or a specific thing that you're producing, so that you can really project the headcount, the type of people that you need, the different levels, right? It's not just about hiring anybody, it's hiring the right people in the right place by knowing exactly what it is that the business needs, right? It's also very important to know the impact that all of these expenses have on your P&L. It's important to know, performance management. You know, it's not just about giving your employees a review, but it's about how do we help them to get better? How do we train them? Do they need training? Do they need coaching? You know, employee development, all of those type of things. So definitely HR has to be a very important department, and we need to get companies and leadership to really understand that value. But the only way for us to be able to do it is, as I said before, you know, knowing the business, knowing your numbers, knowing the data, and delivering on commitments. Because, you know, you can go in there and you can talk about it and you can tell them how important HR is or the human resources function is. But if you don't deliver and if you're not able to show the benefit and show the savings and show the impact that it has on the business, it's really they're not going to take you seriously. So right now we are fighting that battle. We are trying to demonstrate and you know, trying to get that seat here in this current company, and you know, hopefully we can make it happen soon.
Well, you'll have to come back and tell us, Sylvia. So we did run one more poll. And we asked, what important role do you feel HR plays in leadership within an organization? We want to know what our attendees thought as well. We said good gauge on performance management, understands employee relations, understands the impact employees have on bottom line, and where to fill the holes. Well, our attendees heard you, and they understand, and 93% said all of the above.
That's good.
So they understand the value of human resources in a company.
That's good. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Well, at this time, I definitely want to invite Star back on. I see that she's here. Star, are you there?
I am. I certainly am. I am standing at the top of the famous Santana Row here in San Jose. I'm getting prepared for our Power Networking event out here tomorrow, and enjoying the sunshine. I'm not going to lie to you.
Gorgeous. So, it looks beautiful.
It is really beautiful. But I thought we might do a little bit to connect with some of your other speakers, and to me to give you some tips about what happens once you finally get that seat at the table. I've been lucky, blessed, and experienced enough to be able to sit at the seat of a boardroom table as well as a C-suite table for some time now. And when you finally do get a seat at the table, it's fair to say that your chair may actually feel uncomfortably small. You have an amazing opportunity to impact and to influence, and of course couple your authentic power with a more powerful chair. If you can do that, you'd be unstoppable in your career trajectory. So let me give you just a couple of pieces of advice. I want to suggest that you lead with your whole heart and your entire head. In order to maintain your seat at the table, you have to have a careful approach, because that will improve your influence, your impact, and ultimately your career. So my first tip is to understand the norms. Now, however silly they may seem, there are some likely norms at your own company. So you have to approach the scene like kids playing jump rope on a playground. You watch the rope first. You watch it spin a few times before you jump in. You know, no one just jumps right in to a jump rope. They try to figure out what the timing is. They figure out how the person is actually turning the rope. And it sounds like a kid's game, but think about sitting at the table of influence in the same way. How does the communication flow around that table? What's there? Is there a seating arrangement you need to be aware of? You want to make sure you don't sit in a seat that somebody else sits in all the time. And don't let a silly mishap leave you looking like a rookie when you sit down for the first time. My number 2 tip, please do your homework. I know I talk about this quite often, but knowledge inspires confidence in you and from the other people around the table. So you have to carefully review agendas in advance. When the senior leader at the table puts out an agenda, make sure your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted so you know what you're going to talk about. Talk to your peers to actually get up to speed on any unfamiliar topics. Look at it like a team approach. Prepare beyond the expectations. You want to under-promise and over-perform. Hustle. Yes, learn what you need to do to become effective in this particular context is the best way to put it. Number 3, stakeholder your big ideas. Now, what I mean by that is if you're sitting in for a meeting, talk to your boss or your colleague about using this as an opportunity to bring up a new idea. If it's a longer term gig, meaning now you have your spot and you know what seat you sit in, you're going to have a window to showcase even more of your capabilities. You want to take time to stakeholder your ideas offline, one-on-one with the key opinion leaders in your office, in your business. Having allies, having sponsors, and not just mentors are extremely important. And remember, I have told you the difference between a mentor and a sponsor. A sponsor is the person that's going to talk about you when you leave the room. That's your advocate outside of the room. You want to ask them to help you fine-tune your thinking and your presentation. You will feel more confident and the ideas will sell better with a few key supporters. Number 4, speak up. Leaders often waste their seat at the table. Sure, you have to take good notes and report back, but then you don't influence. You have great insights, so share your truth. What's my biggest piece of advice that came from Oprah Winfrey? Stand in the space God has created for you. Know who you are and share it. Resist the urge to just nod in agreement. The reason you're there is because you bring something to the table other than an appetite. And my 5th and final suggestion or tip is to try to build deeper relationships. However temporary, a seat at the table is a great way to build deep connections. You want to build relationships and professional intimacy with your peers. Let them know who you are, what you value, and you become extraordinarily helpful to them. Once they can see that you do indeed bring something to the table other than an appetite, that seat at the table will be yours. Thank you so very much, and I hope that is helpful because it's really been helpful in my own career.
Thank you, Star. Really, really helpful and great conclusion to our panel today. And thank you to our wonderful VIP panelists, our NAPW members, C-Suite, Kathy Callahan-Brady, Lakita Jewett, and Sylvia Espino. Just wonderful, great tips today. I think it's been a very interesting panel discussion. So as we wrap up this week's panel, I want to share with you our recommended reads from our panelists today. Kathy recommended The One Thing, The Surprisingly Simple Truth Behind Extraordinary Results by Gary Keller. Lakita recommended The Speed of Trust by Stephen M.R. Covey. And lastly, Sylvia recommends 3 books, The Trust Edge by David Horsager, From Good to Great by James Collins, and Leading from the Front by Angie Morgan Courtney Lynch. Thank you, ladies. These are great choices, and thank you for your professional insight today. Also, thank you to our 1,000+ members who registered for our event today, and attendees will be receiving a follow-up list of all the members at the event today, so you can connect again on napw.com and continue to network. If any of our attendees have further questions for our speakers, please feel free to reach out. Their information is on today's PowerPoint and will be also listed in the post eChapter email. Also, all NAPW eChapters are recorded and saved on YouTube for you to find and watch again. A couple of final important announcements as we wrap up our event today. Our next eChapter will be Wednesday, June 15th at 4 p.m. Eastern, and the topic is the art of negotiating. Ladies, sign up today. The registration link is live on your screen now. NAPW's upcoming in-person corporate networking events are as follows. Power Networking Events, Pioneers in San Jose, tomorrow, June 2nd. That's where Star is right now. And Houston, June 14th. You can sign up now for either or both of these events. The link is live also on your screen. Also, our 2 national summits will be held August 23rd in Los Angeles and October 8th in Washington, D.C. Look out for emails and social media posts to register for these upcoming events. And finally, ladies, post eChapter, here are 3 things you should do to continue putting your NAPW membership to work. Connect with at least 3 members post eChapter. As I said, the attendee list is coming your way after this event. Make sure to sign up for the next eChapter and future eChapter events. And don't forget to take the post eChapter survey. Your feedback is important to us and assists us in enhancing your member experience. Thank you, everyone, for another great eChapter, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great rest of your day.